Sabrina and welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited to have you here, and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free and a spoilery discussion on Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey Mcquiston. Now, for the spoiler-free summary, this book is about Alex Claremont, and Alex Claremont is the first son of the United States, which is a pretty big deal if you're from the States. President's family is kind of like the royal family in the States. Sometimes, it depends on if you like the president, I guess. Alex is in the closet to the public, but he's out of the closet to his family, and when he kind of sparks this drama with the Prince of England, his family decides it's time for you to hash things out, and they send him to England to kind of make amends with Prince Henry, and it kind of starts something between the two of them. Now, as for the writing of this book, I absolutely loved it. It was definitely unique in the way you get so much out of the book. You get the emails and the text messages between Prince Henry and the first son, Alex. You get a lot of banter between the two characters, and that's something that I really love in my romance, is a lot of banter, because you know relationships are not always all fun and games. There's sometimes a little bit of arguing, so I love how they banter, and it's just fun arguing back and forth without any really resolution, and because there doesn't need to be one, it's just kind of fun banter. The book was overall written in a super fun way. The characters were so fun. They were all very unique to where they lived and their personalities and kind of the environment they grew up in, and I've loved the writing style. Now, there are just two main characters that I want to talk about, which is Alex, which is the first son, and he is very confident in who he is. He really wants to get this degree to be the next president, because he wants to be kind of that second family president, if that makes sense, and he is very determined to kind of get this degree done and be able to kind of do what he wants. The only thing about him is you can tell he's very confident about his sexuality around his family and his close friends, and obviously like his mother's intel, because they need to know a lot about them. But when it comes to the public and people he doesn't really know, he's not that open and honest about who he is, just because he's afraid of the backlash, not only that the public will give him, but will give his mother, since it is re-election year, and that has a lot to do with elections, is kind of how the society perceives you and your family. But Alex is also extremely witty. He's very charming, and he's just fun. He loves to go out and have fun. He's just, you can tell he makes everyone around him happy, and he makes friends very easily. Now, for Prince Henry, he is a little different. He's very laid back. He's kind of shy, and nobody except his very, very, very close friend knows that he is gay. He is afraid of the backlash it will bring the royal family, because they have a kind of level of upkeep they need to have to be able to be accepted and to not have kind of this drama that goes along with the royal family that we tend to see. So he's trying to just keep the drama at all-time low and not to have anybody kind of know about who he is. I think that's something that is very prominent about his character, is he is very prominent even from the beginning. He is very shy about who he is, and he obviously does not want to bring any drama to the royal family, so he just kind of sticks to himself and kind of just does what they want him to do. Now, for the spoiler-free plot, Alex and Henry are enemies since the Olympics, when Henry gave Alex the cold shoulder, and because of this, Alex has hated Henry ever since, so they just do not get along. And because of this, they just avoid each other at all costs. But at a royal wedding, when Alex accidentally knocks over a cake, he is forced to go over to England and kind of connect with Prince Henry and apologize publicly and kind of be fake friends to the public. This obviously sparks so much more between them, and it is just beautiful. Overall, this book was absolutely amazing. I loved the character development, I loved the writing, and I really love how our characters throughout the story really emerged and evolved as new people, and they came out so much better than they were. Overall, I gave this book a 4.75 stars out of 5, and the Goodreads rating was a 4.25. So I think this is a pretty accurate read. Now let's get on to the spoilery section of this video. Now, something I really liked about this video was the relationship between Alex and Henry, because in the beginning, you could obviously tell Alex had feelings toward Henry and he thought he was cute, whatever you want to say he thought. But toward the middle of the book, you could tell Henry was kind of getting these feelings, but he was kind of trying to hold them in and stay in the closet just for the sake of the view that he thought his country would have for him and his family if he came out as gay, and the backlash they would have, because it can be so taboo in some places, and he obviously didn't want that to ruin kind of the royal family's figure. Now, that being said, I think that is a super silly way to think, but I understand the fear in that, especially in a position of power like that. But I also think that Henry did what he could to sacrifice his happiness for his family, and I think that's so amazing that he would want to do that. But at the same time, I find it very sad that he felt like he had to do that. I absolutely love the LGBTQ representation in this book, just because you don't see that very often. And overall, I think that our characters, the angle changed, I'm sorry, but overall I think the characters did an amazing job of like standing up for themselves and figuring out who they were and who they wanted to be, because that's something that's so important. And like the main theme of this book is being unapologetically you, and that's definitely something that I feel like a lot of people deal with and a lot of people are scared to be is themselves. So now, as for the romance, it's not quite as fluffy as a lot of the LGBTQ romances or even like adult romances we read, but it's very teenage romance-y, if that makes sense. Bickery, fun, it's very witty, it's just a lot of fun more than fluffy, heartwarming kind of thing. Towards the end of the book, we get Alex that kind of not forces Henry to come out, but kind of encourages them to be himself, and it's okay to come out, which is something that I really liked, and I think that's one of the fluffier moments. But I mean, the romance overall isn't as fluffy as I wanted it to be, but it still did not hinge from the story and hinge from like the overall lesson learned from it. Now, something that was weird for me was this book contained a lot of emails back and forth, and that for me is such like a 2000s kind of thing. Like, I don't know very many people who email to contact their friends or family other than at work or when they have to send an email for work, because I send emails at work all the time. But I don't think I've ever sent an email to my friend just for the heck of it. So I thought that was such an interesting concept on how email was like a primary source of communication for Henry and Alex. That was definitely something that was kind of weird for me, but definitely fun to see, because I feel like email is gonna be one of those things where, oh, I just get spam sent to my email and you don't really communicate with anybody through it. And I really loved the family aspect throughout the whole story. And even though Mama Claremont had so much on her plate being the president, she never stopped to say, oh, well, I don't have time for you, I can't listen to you. She always made time to see her children and always made time to communicate with her children. And that's something that I really enjoyed throughout the story, was that she always made time for them, which I think is really important. And she was just so loving and caring, and I know she had to stand up for her country. So when she made Alex go apologize to Henry and be friends with him, she was doing it for her country, but at the same time she was doing it to make Alex a better person, and that's something that I just absolutely loved about Mama Claremont. The relationship between Prince Henry and Alex was just so amazing, because it's not that mushy-gushy, that's exactly what I want kind of fairy tale romance. It's that kind of real, raw, bickering, learning things about yourself romance that you have in real life. And I think that's something that made this book so popular, was because it was real and it was raw and it was something that could happen and might happen, and it's obviously something that could be taboo if you looked at it that way, but it was something that was real and raw and you could connect with, and I really enjoyed that. Speaking of Alex, he is just so confident, and through the book you can tell his confidence in himself and his sexuality, along with Prince Henry, gets so much better. They start to learn that they are more than they think they are better people than they think they are, and they get better. They are better people than at the beginning of the book. And you could tell because Henry sacrifices his family and himself and his image for love, and that's something that I feel like is one of those big things that a lot of people are like, oh, well, that seems silly to do, but it's something that's so romantic and so just needed sometimes, and I loved that. Alright, that is going to to be the end of the spoiler discussion. Let me know what you guys thought of the spoiler discussion and anything you want to say about it. Alright, so that is going to be the end of my review of Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey Mcquiston. Let me know what you guys thought of this book and what you guys thought of kind of the relationship, because I really am curious on what you guys thought of it. If you like this video, make sure you give it a super big thumbs up. Make sure you comment down below and tell me what you thought of Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey Mcquiston. And make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I upload every Monday and Thursday at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time. And without further ado, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!